Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Verizon VCT Game Changers, of course, sponsored by Verizon and AIM Labs. But I'm back with Becky and I'm back with Dr. Delta. What's up, guys? I mean, the last game was very, very interesting. We had, I wouldn't say necessarily a stomp. FXP put up a pretty good fight, in my opinion. It was really entertaining to watch. But Becky, Jesse, Jesse, where did I get Jesse from? Jesse's somewhere in my mind. I don't know who they
Jesse's the
are.
top frag, the Sova
Jesse's
player
the
for TMV.
That's right. Jesse was there right up here. Jesse's util was insane. That's what I was gonna say. But Ari and Luna had great synergy.
Oh, yeah, extremely good synergy. And like I was talking about before we went to the break, when you're playing something like that Jet, you're losing out on things like flashes, which is usually why traditionally you've kind of picked up something like that KO or something like that Sky, because it makes up for a lot of the things that you're kind of lacking when you pick up something like that Jet.
Mhm.
And, when you get to see one of those initiators just do some really great things alongside that Jet, it just is chef's kiss. You love to see it. Absolutely beautiful. And I mean, Jesse just did a nice little all top, had great crosshair placement, had great utility usage
Yeah.
on that Sova, just really opened everything up and brought TMV to their dub.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, there nothing really is to add on to that. It was Jesse's util was insane. I believe he actually said it in the middle of the game. I was like, I agree with you entirely. Even though you guys couldn't hear me, I was screaming in the back like, "Yes, go, go!" But it was actually a really fun and entertaining game to watch. But Delta, we do have the next matchup coming up, and it is going to be Opulence versus Death Not Serenity. But I'm pretty interested to see how this one goes, especially since we have Luna subbing in for Def Not Seren and as well as, third place for Opulence coming through in Sakura Cup. We have that history there, but with Luna subbing in, with that information in your head, do you think that Def Not Seren has that advantage?
Mean, again, this is just another one you can't really tell. So similar to the last matchup we just saw, Team Opulence Black is another team that just came up on the scene. There is a little bit more information than we had with FXP, but they were able, like you said, placed third in the Sakura Cup. But before that, we hadn't heard anything from them. So the fact that they were able to score so well, play so well with limited experience, they can be the dark horse for this matchup. And then, like you said, we also have definitely not Serenity with a sub. And so just a little bit more of a variable to figure out what state definitely not Serenity will come for this matchup.
Yeah, and honestly, I'm interested to see Luna play again. Unfortunately, though, Luna, of course, being in Misfits prior, there was some news that it was unfortunate that she was dropped, but obviously, looking for these new opportunities, looking forward to seeing Luna come back because come on, the Sova plays on Luna are insane. I'm really excited to see it. I'm a big fan. Becky, are you? I would
Oh,
hope
yeah.
you are because Luna is just, hands down.
I mean, we got to see Jesse do obviously a phenomenal job on the Sova last game. And I feel like Sova is one of those agents that like is so commonly picked on so many maps. Like there's very few maps where you don't utilize something like the Sova. And the difference between like a good Sova who both is good at gunplay as well as good
Mhm.
at utility usage, both intuitive and lineups, it just is such a big difference in like a team composition, and a team itself at its core can really be made or broken by a very good Sova player. So excited to see what Luna Fox is going to bring to the table.
Yeah, but the table, we're going to clear that out really quick. We're going to put the map, bans, and picks here. So, Delta, if you want to show us this time what exactly is going to be shown throughout this map pick, it does seem like, sorry guys, we're going back to Ascent. Ah,
Yeah. Basically going back to Ascent. Like we said earlier, it seems to be the favorite map to go to, especially with these BO1s, group stages. Ascent is the most common map that we see in these tournaments, especially Game Changers Academy. So an oldie but a goodie.
And comfort for Ascent is pretty good. Of course, you know, some teams are just killing it like Team Mystic. So it really does just depend on whether or not you can play the map better than what you would any other map, because you wouldn't want to be banning a map that you aren't comfortable on, a map that you know that you can win against the other team, whatever. So tactical or not, Ascent pretty much a comfort pick, like you said. But I mean, Becky, in this match, what would, obviously we're expecting a KO, obviously, for these agent picks that will come up shortly. We're going to be expecting a variety of initiators, like maybe the Sky or the KO, as well as the Killjoy being one of those main sentinels that we see.
Yeah, I think we're starting to see, depending on how comfortable people are, a little bit of a shift into chamber. I
Yeah.
do think that it's a little bit more rough to pick up a chamber and not pick up a killjoy alongside of it. So usually if you see a chamber, you also see something like the killjoy, but it's definitely a little bit back and forth because it feels weird to bring two sentinels into a game, but at the same time you kind of need something like that killjoy. But so far we do look to see Brooklyn picking up that chamber, and it looks like it will be in place of the killjoy because there is no duelist locked in for the side of Team Opulence just yet.
Yeah, and I think Delta, the no duelist pick is okay if you have that chamber, because, in my opinion, I think chamber can carry on that role pretty well.
Yeah, I've seen with Ascent, no duelist comp, some better than others, but like you said, Chamber can stand on his own as an agent just because of the tour de force, of course, but then also the in and out potential, then also the function to gather information. Chambers just become the standard pick these days, especially on Ascent.
Yeah, standard being that standard being that standard. Yes, of course, chamber being that standard. But I will let you guys get into the game. I bid you good luck.
All right, and we bid you good luck listening to us. I know that you are with us all day and have to listen to me scream above this game for a long, long time. So thank you for bringing us into it, Gompers, and we will be getting right into it with this first round. So the difference being just that chamber and that killjoy. If you have some thoughts, Delta, is there anything big about this difference, or is there something else you want to highlight?
Well, Brooklyn has been known to play the Chamber with that previous game in Sakura Cup. So Chamber is the go-to, has perfected this agent, and that'll be something to watch out for.
And certainly doing a lot at the start here, kind of spearheading for this defensive side. A lot of people hanging out towards this mid area, and I like this play from the defense to start off. You're able to move to whatever side kind of ends up being the need for you to rotate onto, as well as, you know, just keeping all the team together to be able to trade off of one another. And it does mean that you're all together for this potential retake here, as Baby Soap is able to catch off Zoe, who's trying to go and rejoin the rest of those attackers from that flank, and that distance on that catwalk area does mean that slowly but surely these defensive players are setting up to get onto this site. Not a lot of utility, but some great shots coming out from Brooklyn with that headhunter, which you might as well call utility. 0 point will shut that down, but the classic shots and the knowledge of where Lunafox is hiding will give plenty of information nonetheless. And we do see Brooklyn fall, but Melee with a nice trade back there, and Team Opulence take this first one home.
Okay, Baby Soap. I have a feeling you might get tired of that name because you're going to be saying it a lot. Baby Soap, as the controller for the team, is also one of the top fraggers. Like, it's rare that we see the controller being the top fragger, but I mean, they are just so good. You saw that aim duel between Zoe. Zoe was holding back, trying to get a pick for the rotates, but when it comes to these aim duels, Baby Soap's always on top.
And I'm looking forward to seeing more from Baby Soap, as Melee's gun won't quite come unpacked, but that's pretty okay. I think it will still shoot just fine. Watching this angle towards garage as the rest of the team kind of moving all around the defensive side, still posturing into a different area, but a lot of attention towards this mid area. We do see that Brooklyn really holds that down, and I mean, a lot of the times when it's that Killjoy, you see the Killjoy alarm bot as being kind of the only line of defense for gathering information towards this mid side, but you can tell that Team Opulence really wants to have somebody there should somebody try and go get attention and control of that mid area. We do see Baby Soap going ahead and throwing out that dark cover to make sure that any of that information that was going to be gathered as far as aggression is concerned towards this garage area is shut down, at least for a little bit, as the defensive side slowly starts to begin their rotate to combat this.
Okay, posted outside of garage, slowed a little bit down by the dart, but still posted, trying to figure out when is the time to roll on in.
30 seconds.
It looks like with that, a bunch of utility thrown out, but Melee, the first to find two nice headshots coming out from that Spectre. Now trying to find some more, goes for the reload at an unfortunate time, but not to fear. Baby Soap and Brooklyn are on the case, and Sushi to finish it off. No entry going to happen, and a perfect round means all those Spectres and the economy will continue to look great for Opulence.
It's looking great, and Team Opulence able to convert from that pistol round. I mean, another name that we're going to talk a lot about, Brooklyn on the chamber. She tends to just post up and get as much information as possible. You saw her like posted up pretty deep in mid, not afraid because of that get out of jail free card we have with the chamber teleport. So we can see her being pretty gutsy, but right now Yukio being the gutsy one already posted up trying to see in this smoke.
Yukio actually is quite an impressive player as well. I have had the honor of casting Team Opulence in a few GLG tournaments. They're a bit smaller, but there's still a place for a lot of these teams to kind of experiment and play in a free tournament. And I have seen Yukio do some great things alongside the rest of this squad on there. So I'm excited to see what Yukio is going to bring to the table. And that aggression is something that we actually see quite often, at least in kind of these just cheeky and difficult to understand exactly what is going to happen from being in that area, but it uses it in a way to play with the team in a kind of new and innovative way, as the attacking side is also trying to do something new and innovative, moving through onto this catwalk area through mid to try and get onto the site, as Yukio turns around that corner at potentially the wrong time and meets Seal, who finds that first kill and first blood of this round. Zoe on this lurking Killjoy here is just trying to make sure that if anyone is on this rotate, that potentially she can catch them, but is not going to be able to find anyone just yet, as Lunafox, we mentioned it before we even got into this game, going to be an absolute menace on this Sova, and finds an early kill with that shock dart there, as Brooklyn able to get that trade back only to meet Zoe from that lurk. Hopefully that information is going across to the defensive side, but with only one defender left in Melee, falling to Seal means that we get this first round for the side of Definitely Not Serenity.
Okay, Zoe again with the ability to just get into these cheeky positions. Hopefully Team Opulence won't start to kind of expect it, because you know the element of surprise will be gone, but if she's able to do it just enough, catch them off guard, she will be able to get a few kills going her way. We also saw kind of the aggression coming from Team Opulence Flag. We did see Yukio kind of go down, wasn't able to get traded out, but this time around being posted in mid, trying to gather that crucial information.
Nothing too much yet to start cover blocking off quite a bit. It is the attacking side dark cover to cover up that little bit of catwalk and not allow Yukio to peek around that corner and find any early kills, and does actually allow for Fifi and Zora to go through this mid area. This trademark from the chamber will at least get some information finally gathered, as at least shooting something down does mean that Baby Soap able to peek around that corner, find Seal, and all of a sudden these corners that have been held by this defensive side are really starting to pay off. I mean, the ping came out from the attackers, somebody is hiding there, Baby Soap was hiding there, but it's not gonna matter. The rest of the attackers hanging out towards this B site and trying to decide if this is where they're gonna commit themselves. Ooh, bad timing for both of those recon bolts. A lot of that information going to be given over to the defenders, as they will definitely know that the attackers are moving onto the site. But so far, so good, as definitely not Serenity's Fifi is able to find that kill onto Melee, and Lunafox, once again, just an absolute utility god with this Sova, finding that Hunter's Fury kill. The drop down from Sushi, thankfully going to be able to pick up that kill onto Zoe, and now Yukio is just trying so hard to find some of these attackers. Baby Soap will be able to land that one, and Fifi is just trying to stay safe. So far, so good. Jousting against Yukio here, but now with multiple defenders coming in from the side is going to make it that much more difficult. But with Rosara on the side to keep it all safe, it is a Jet versus Jet 1v1. The Cloudburst won't be enough to keep Yukio safe.
Okay. Able to convert that into a second round win. I was a little worried for them. They had that Omen go down because, again, when you're in a duel against Baby Soap, it turns to go their way. But yeah, definitely not Serenity able to clutch that round, and has pushed Team Opulence on a save round this time. So with that save round, looking to have a little bit more aggression in mid. We see 3 players posted and looking to gather all that information, and already deep through mid.
Whoa, extremely. I mean, Yukio with the Sheriff and no fear alongside this KO. We've talked about it from the previous map that we just watched, how important it is to pair that Jet with that KO and work together. And it looks like Yukio and Sushi are looking to do that right now. That door is being shot down, but still not able to gather any bit of damage. This grenade now gonna at least keep some of that aggression from the defending side off, at least for but a moment. Trying to get some of that damage from that tour de force through that wall is not gonna be able to connect to anything just yet. Rizora and Lunafox both able to pick up kills, but in a 2v2 situation, the defenders are on the site. Melee is starting to go for that defuse, but Lunafox with those lineups, very beautifully done.
Okay, definitely.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, definitely not Serenity able to clutch that out. We kind of expected it because Team Opulence were on their save round, but they did make it expensive for them. We saw that aggression coming out. They were basically guns blazing out of the gate and able to do rotates enough to get those crucial picks, but the round going to definitely not Serenity. Now, Brooklyn facing mid with an op, but able to be pushed off with that dart.
Oh, yeah, an unfortunate situation. They know that you're hanging out there, and Rizora able to pick up that kill. Yukio once again being very aggressive and pushing out all on her own, and somebody is watching this corner, potentially ready for it,
no.
and does thankfully pick that up. A 4v4 situation now thanks to Yukio's aggression, and the nice drop from that dark cover does allow for Baby Soap to pick that one up and quickly do that little teleport away. I mean, you mentioned it, and it's beautifully shown there. Baby Soap, right place, right time, playing around that own Omen's utility very nicely.
Well, the teams are starting to get a read on each other. They're realizing that, well, Team Opulence tends to push on the defense, but also definitely not Serenity tend to have someone lurking behind. And so it's great that these teams are able to get that read off of each other. And then it just ends up with the aim duel.
And you kind of love to see it. It makes it a lot easier to kind of digest exactly where things are lining up and ending up being utility based. If you're able to kind of have an even gunfight on both sides and then have it just come down to who is utilizing their utility better. And speaking of that, we're going to start to see how much utility is going to be necessary for the 3 remaining attackers to face up against, well, make it the 3 defenders up until it is once again an agent advantage for the defenders. Very nice paranoia coming out there from Baby Soap to allow Baby Soap and Sushi to finish off those final 2 kills. Now they're just going to go ahead, figure out what guns they want to go pick up off the ground, and they've got a lot of time to figure this out. Nicely done from Melee there, who's able to run out and pick up that operator that Brooklyn had, and now Sushi can go for that defuse with lots of time to spare.
Yes, lots of time to go shopping. So definitely getting the spoils of that win. I mean, I love what I see coming from Team Opulence Black. So again, Baby Soup just being in the position to capitalize on their great fragging power. We saw, for example, a knife coming out to try to clear out tree room, and the Baby Soap just was able to point the paranoia in the right way and clean up the round. So Team Opulence looking very clean and also very good this round with 4 ults coming up.
We'll see how those ultimates are going to impact this, as that owl drone from Luna Fox is silenced by that 0 point coming out from Sushi. So a little bit not what you would want to see. Brazora also kind of forced a little bit back as a result of that Bladestorm falling to that 0 point as well. So a lot of aggression kind of lost in these early few seconds from the attacking side. We are at an even 3-3, so we're at quite a tense point in this match for both of these teams, as the attacking side, a lockdown does get used here. Baby Soap, though, is still in a safe position and is waiting for a lot of information to be gathered. The splash does force Baby Soap back, but with that, the double dash and jump onto site. 5v5 situation, but Melee using this Hunter's Fury, trying to gather some information and damage onto the attacking side before the rest of the defenders posture to get onto this retake.
I love that she saved the Hunter's Fury to try, rather than to kill the lockdown, she used it to try to slow things down on site.
Oh, and Luna Fox also slowing things down, but slowing things down for the retake, back and forth until Sushi and Melee are on to this site very nicely. Able to pick up a bunch of kills there, but now, ooh, Luna Fox in an unknown area. 4 kills, nicely bringing it the way of Definitely Not Serenity.
Oh my goodness, it's just the Luna. What in the world? This is definitely a welcome addition to this squad, able to capitalize on 4 kills and clutching out that round, bringing Definitely Not Serenity to the lead. Team Opulence Black, though, now being pushed to a save round. Like we've seen before with these save rounds, they tend to be really aggressive, as we already see them pushing through Garage.
Oh, and I mean, Yukio had the Blade Storm, but Rosora said, absolutely not. Zoe also finding a kill there, and the Recon Bolt potentially going to gather some information, but does get shot down there by Baby Soap. So unfortunately, that initial aggression not really going the thrifty way of Team Opulence. And now some shots through the smoke, trying to gather some information, but a nice headshot over that smoke coming out from Sushi is at least going to stem the bleeding a little bit, but Seal with this lurk is going to make it that much more difficult for these final 2 defenders to really get anything done, deciding where exactly we're gonna try and push through smoke. Narrowly misses Baby Soap, and it just looks like they're gonna just go ahead and be able to push through here. Baby Soap was able to pick up a Vandal, which is gonna potentially be huge here, but it does scare me a little bit that Baby Soap with full HP is the one that's actually spearheading this, and not Sushi with low HP to go for the trades back and forth. And Luna Fox finding that kill, followed up by that Paranoia, allows for Fifi to finish it off.
Okay, well, they weren't able to capitalize on that thrifty round. Most of the members just going down with that Garage push, unfortunately. And so with that loss, they will be taking a timeout, making sure that they can capitalize on the next round, which they're buying into. So we see an op on the board and buying in with the rest with rifles. So definitely don't want to lose that op. Brooklyn, with the op or the Tour de Force, has been getting crucial information in mid, being posted up pretty deep, helps them to get information about the rotates and just try to have the leg up on Definitely Not Serenity. But with Luna Fox on this squad, it's just a little bit difficult to overcome that.
Yeah, Luna Fox is doing absolutely wonders for the side of Definitely Not Serenity. 12 and
12.
6. Huge. Wow. And has the Hunter's Fury ready going into this round. So, I mean, if there was ever a time for Team Opulence to call a timeout, I like the decision to do it now. I like when you're able to buy up after a timeout, because sometimes, like, I understand that you need the timeout to coordinate yourselves for those saved pistol rounds, but it feels weird to use the timeout sometimes right when you're about to go into a round that you're percentage-wise likely going to lose, because then it kind of feels like it hurts your morale. You go into a round, you lose, and then you don't really remember what you talked about during the timeout. So I like using it on a round where you're going to buy up, and hopefully it will be able to do some good for Team Opulence, as Brooklyn immediately going to give some information about the location of that operator away by taking out that turret, but at least getting that pesky turret off the map is going to be doing some good.
Yeah, able to take the turret, an alarm bot goes in its place because they know Brooklyn will most likely want to push up.
And we'll see if that will be the call, but the call from the attackers is to utilize everybody moving back towards this A site, and Baby Soap at least going to be good to trade 1-for-1 and actually taking out Lunafox to start, which is huge. A big member, as we just mentioned, at 12 kills to be the one to go down at the start of this round. So things are looking up for Team Opulence, even though that was just a 1-for-1 trade.
Yeah, the top fragger off the board, the Hunter's Fury off the board, making definitely not Serenity's options a little bit slimmer. So Team Opulence, though, still posted on both sides of the map, trying to get some information. The knife, I think, might have caught out one member, but not enough to know that the play might be A.
And it looks like that, with that, Seal gonna go ahead and throw out some of those dark covers and allow for the attacking side to make their push onto the site. Fifi readying that 0 point and is gonna catch Melee and put a little bit of a silence onto that Sova. So an unfortunate timing, not gonna be able to use any recon bolts or shock darts to try and get some of that information. But once that fades, using that owl drone to find out Fifi, Brooklyn trying to get some of those shots through the ground, but it won't be enough as Sushi and Yukio do fall. Make it Melee as well to Rizora, who is just an absolute menace. That KO could be revived, but Brooklyn instead with that operator is just gonna say, let's just save for the next one.
Yeah, that's a great call. Save the op for the next round. Unfortunately, that KO ult didn't do what they intended. Oh, okay, an exit pick. Feeling a little bit better going into the next round, but yeah, like I was saying, that KO ult did not do the trick in trying to slow things down for and definitely not Serenity. So this time around, able to keep that op in play, but the rest of the members will be stuck on pistols. We have seen tonight some crazy thrifty rounds, so not to say that this round is completely lost, but definitely things looking better for the side of Def Not Serenity.
Yeah, we do see that Brooklyn still has that operator, so like with a lucky pick or two on that op, we could still be looking at quite a potent round. Unfortunately, Lunafox, knowing exactly how that usually goes, uses that owl drone as the first little sacrificial lamb in that situation, and unfortunately not being able to get that kill onto Rizora does force Brooklyn back to rendezvous out of that situation. Nice Jash over that boathouse to get that extra distance from Rizora and make sure that all of that site is clear and allow for the attacking side to get onto the site, followed up by some, as per usual, nice kills coming out from Lunafox as well, who's holding the same angle that we've seen every time the attackers have gone towards this B site. Zoe nicely peeking around to take out Yukio here, and 3 members of the defense left against all 5 of the attackers, and one of them being Brooklyn with this operator, but being smoked off is just not where you want to be, and Melee trying to get some shots, but Fifi with this off angle towards this bottom area of the swamp does force Brooklyn to just say, I'm getting out and saving once again.
Yeah, and it looks like they're going on a little bit of a chase because they know that op is very valuable. So can't blame them. Hopefully she'll be able to remain alive.
Ooh,
oh,
unfortunately
no.
not, but does become a lovely tree.
So not all is lost then. Well, so definitely not Serenity are doing a great job at neutralizing this op. So Brooklyn trying to get into cheeky positions. We saw the last one trying to get an angle in garage, but they were able to use a drone to push her off and then also kind of chase her a bit, making the get out of jail card not as useful. So they are doing a great job neutralizing the op as they are again going for the B site.
And I mean, it's worked out so well for them every single time, so I like this decision. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. We're seeing that same dash situation once again, and I mean, Fifi is just learning so well, finds 2 headshots right off the rip, very nicely opening this up so well for the attacking side of Definitely Not Serenity. 0 point back off cooldown and back utilized once again. Sushi trying to keep things at an even point, but Zoe and Fifi will just not allow it. Yukio falls. 3 kills for Fifi, 2 for Zoe, and 8 rounds to Definitely Not Serenity.
Oh my goodness. Luna with those darts, that was just a work of art. But also the other members, so Razora and Fifi, doing great work. Also their part in trying to push this lead up as far as possible. Now we're at the end of the half, and Team Opulence can't really fight back like they would need to. We have a Guardian and a Marshall in play. Baby Soap on the Marshall can do some work, but it's gonna be rough.
And Recon Bolt immediately getting shot down, so some information gathered as Melee goes ahead and utilizes those shock darts to try and get some damage onto the attackers. A little bit will go through, but not a ton of damage as the Hunter's Fury from Luna Fox is trying to clear out that back of Boathouse. And this time, Rizura didn't go for that above boat double dash, and this time ultimately punished for it by Melee there. So 4-5 from the attacking side. Make it 4-3 as Melee is just doing so much here on this swamp side of B. Luna Fox, the only player remaining, but if there was ever a player who could 1v4 a situation, it would be Luna Fox.
No.
Though this Hunter's Fury from Melee is going to make it that much more difficult. Has to avoid the Hunter's Fury and runs right into Sushi's Spectre.
Just an onslaught because they know Luna Fox, they can't mess with her. But wow, okay, so not all was lost that last round. Make sure to note that for the future. When put up against the wall, Team Opulence can fight back. They were able to turn a thrifty round into a win. That kind of momentum, that kind of just jump from that last round will hopefully translate into a pistol win so that they can close this gap.
We'll see if they're able to do that. I do think that they're at a little bit of an advantage now. That Chamber, I mean, you're kind of hoping for like the 50-50. You go to the site that the Killjoy isn't holding, and then that Chamber is just so much better utilized on the attacking side than it can be on the defensive side. So looking forward to seeing what Team Opulence Black's team composition is able to flourish with on this attacking side. As I mean, we're also seeing quite an interesting defensive strategy. Brooklyn up in that high ground is able to spot Rizura trying to get aggressive, and no, not too much loss there, just a lot of HP off of Brooklyn, which maybe will spell disaster. But we've seen Brooklyn get some nice headhunter shots, and you don't need a lot of HP to take the head off somebody. Just a stampede of footsteps as Seal gets really aggressive and is punished by Yukio, but a 1-for-1 trade twice over. Fifi finishes off Yukio with that grenade, and now Baby Soap is kind of forced to be the spearhead for the side of Team Opulence, just waiting for that door to go down and not have to worry about that. The shock darts are coming out from Luna Fox and definitely doing a lot of damage onto Baby Soap here, who's just trying to get that bomb down and is being forced off of that default plant time and time again. Melee now posturing and trying to punish Zoe for trying to be aggressive here, but there is just so much damage dealt to the side of Team Opulence against the full HP bars of the defensive side. Luna Fox with those right clicks is good for 2 at that final point to bring it 9 points to Definitely Not Serenity.
All right. Well, I do like what I'm seeing coming out from Team Opulence for this half. It's interesting. We talked so much about the kind of KO Jet combo. That last round, we did see Baby Soap on the Omen and the Jet kind of comboing. You know, the Paranoia can be used as a flash. So I anticipate seeing a bit more of that as these rounds go out. But Luna Fox, 17-8, continuing to do the work and keeping Team Opulence off the site, which looks to be B at the moment.
0 point, gonna try and get a little bit of early information, but won't pick any of it up as Rizura in a cheeky position that Baby Soap just is not looking at, and that is the bomb down very quickly onto site. Just a lot of shots through the smokes, but is able to pick up one, somehow is still alive before falling to Sushi, and all of a sudden, for once, the attackers do have a little bit of a leg up in this situation, and the two defending remaining members do have full HP bars, but Brooklyn once again can have some nice headhunter shots, just not when Seal is trying to walk through that smoke, and all of a sudden we're at an even match, and this turret is actually looking really spooky because those HP bars on both of the attacking players are low, low, low.
So low, this could be anyone's round.
Oh, I mean, but
okay.
it's actually just Melee's round.
Oh, yeah. No, basically Melee's round. Okay. Well, able to clutch that out from definitely not Serenity. Not able to convert that pistol round win. So, wow. I was thinking things were starting to go the way of definitely not Serenity. I liked that they used the KO fragment off the bat to slow the approach, kind of break up the approach. But Melee, well, they're tied for the top with Sushi, but still doing great work on that team.
Oh, and now Rizura trying to get a little bit of aggressive with that Marshall, but I mean, Yukio is just kind of being a menace with this run and gun situation that you can sometimes make happen, and it works so well when you just have that extra jet mobility. So that boat is cleared, the attackers are on to the site, the bomb is going down, as well as taking Rizura off the board from that defensive side. That door is broken down, so the defenders can slowly start to orient themselves and figure out how they're going to be pushing onto this site, as Baby Soap gets a little bit of information from these peaks, but the post-plant setup that we're seeing from these attackers with all 5 members still remaining is just looking so strong, as Brooklyn's able to pick up one, does get dropped on by Seal, but Melee is able to do a nice little trade back there. Only 2 players remaining for the defensive side, and Baby Soap is just being so aggressive and just trying to get all up in Seal's face, and Seal's like, well, I know that Melee is here. Oh, the dark cover does fall, and Melee says, hey, I know where you are too. Sushi also to find Luna Fox, and 6-9 Team Opulence are clawing their way back.
Okay, able to win that the third round of the half. Things are looking good, closing this gap. It looks like on the side of definitely not Serenity, on the defense, you know, with these retakes require a little bit more coordination. We mentioned while Luna Fox is a force to be reckoned with, is definitely the newest addition in terms of being a sub on the squad, so things may be just a little not coordinated as 100% as they would like, but still able to do the work.
Ooh, that recon bolt did get shot down, but did gather some information off of that first ping regardless, so maybe a nice little off angle from that recon bolt on this defensive side that caught these attackers off guard. They're posturing towards this B site once again. They were able to make it work 2 rounds in a row, but this time around we might be looking at a little bit of a different strategy. That bomb is still hanging out towards B, but with a lot of the attackers moving towards this A site and trying to just gather as much information across the map as possible, we might be seeing some interesting diversions from the typical strategy as far as Team Opulence is concerned. Seal, nice peeks around. Baby Soap potentially seemed to be alone, but was not, and I mean, Seal rewarded for it, picks off both of those kills. The dark cover does fall, and once again Team Opulence moving on to this B site, and finally we're seeing the Killjoy with a little bit of a turn in anticipation for that. Does a bit of damage from those swarm grenades, and all of a sudden the 3 remaining attackers have that bomb down onto this B site, but against 5 full members for the defense, this is going to be a rough one for them to hold up against.
Yeah, but the dart was so good, able to spot out these members.
Oh, Zoe though, I mean, was blind, but now sees, picks up 2 kills alongside Fifi with that grenade to finish one off, and we're at double digits now for definitely not Serenity.
Okay, Serenity bringing it back for that round. I like what I'm seeing. We saw 2 picks coming from Seal being pushed up as far as possible in A, able to catch Team Opulence off guard. That's some of the things we saw in the first half and starting to come back again in this half. So definitely they'll have to keep an eye out for just members lurking around. So this time around, Team Opulence will be heading towards the A site. They tended to favor the B site, so good that they are mixing things up. But we'll have to face Fifi.
Seal saying that null command makes me a little bit spooked. Gonna go ahead and move off towards tree site and maybe just watch catwalk for a little bit, and with that all of the attacking side are able to push themselves on to this site, and it looks like we're actually going to see Seal go for a lurk all the way around, potentially gonna get caught out by that trademark, but ooh, Baby Soap was looking to be in a little bit of a rough situation, but thankfully back being watched by Yukio there. Very nicely done. And now Seal with this lurk is actually going to get caught out by Melee, and the attackers are up 5-2-3. This Pop Flash gonna go out. Fifi's good to find one, but the rendezvous away does save that chamber. And now 1v4 situation, but in the middle of everyone means that Zoe will fall, and a 7th round will be grabbed by Team Opulence.
Okay. I was a little worried about that Soul Lurk, but they were able to, Team Opulence were able to handle that just fine. So closing the gap even further. This time around, they do have 3 ultimates available, so they can use the From the Shadows to try to get some information, maybe do some trickery against Serenity, but then also having the Blade Storm ready for Yukio to just blast through mid.
Whoa, and speaking of blasting through mid, Rizura, extremely aggressive, picks up that kill onto Brooklyn. And I mean, the blades are down now, but this Sheriff and just equally being as aggressive, holding the Sabrosa angle and just waiting to gather some information here. Doesn't gather too much, but does hear quite a few footsteps, and now the defensive side are able to move themselves with this agent advantage 5-4, and blocked up by this dark cover. Looks like we're actually going to see the attacking side do a little bit of a change, do a little bit of a movement around to different sides of the map and keep themselves being unpredictable. But Fifi able to spot one out, starting to do these little jump peeks, gather a little bit of information for the defensive side as well, and it looks like it's going to be really rough if the attacking side tries to pivot onto that tree area, because that's where all of this Killjoy utility is. Yet here we see Baby Soap and Yukio are going to go ahead and try it anyway. The swarm grenades go out, and Yukio is just waiting to push onto the site as soon as they fall. Shots through that dark cover from Zoe, but they're not going to be able to connect for any damage quite yet, as there's just a ton of bullets being sprayed through each of these smokes.
Okay, and okay.
Whoa!
Again on the prowl.
Oh, and a successful prowl at that. Takes 2 before going down for Baby Soap, and Team Opulence getting themselves into a 3v3 situation. Nice trade there from Sushi with Yukio, and now Rizura knows that Melee has to be there because the Hunter's Fury aggressing so nicely, but Melee's able to pick it up, and Yukio takes out Seal, who's trying to go for that defuse.
Oh, was worried about, just the vulnerability of the Hunter's Fury, especially with no one to trade, but that didn't seem to matter very much. Still able to get off the Hunter's Fury and get the frag nonetheless. And so we are at a timeout. Definitely after that round, I think that's definitely the call, because so much happened that past round. Serenity has not been afraid to, or definitely not Serenity. We have to make sure we say definitely not, because they're not Serenity. They haven't been afraid to push up and just get crucial information as deep in the map as possible. That's been helping them get the rotates that they need. They aren't afraid because, for example, that last round they had all of that utility posted up in tree room and on the A side. The turret will be able to spot them out. So their utility usage and their ability to just go for it have been working out quite well.
And I mean, we've kind of talked time and time again about how important synergy is, how important utility usage with other agents' utility, and the way that you're able to communicate that can really impact a game. And I feel like we're kind of seeing Team Opulence make this shift into just working together better against specifically what we're seeing definitely not Serenity bring to this defensive side. But as a result, we're also seeing just a great start for definitely not Serenity. That Paranoia just started off, followed by Lunafox with this Hunter's Fury, picking up 2. I mean, if you were planning to be aggressive, that just simply will not happen here.
That was a beautiful play. So the Paranoia coming out, basically everyone blind, and Lunafox to clean it up with the Hunter's Fury. That was a timeout well worth it.
I mean, absolutely gorgeous. And like we've been talking about, the utility usage being that important, just showing up and paying dividends for the defensive side, who are also just on a save round. So being able to immediately take out 2 members of the attacking side with that utility, so important. But Yukio fighting to keep the rest of Team Opulence in this game, and even this score. I mean, Yukio absolutely nasty with those 2 headshots there, doing great work. And now all of a sudden Niven 3v3 is on the prowl, on the hunt alongside Brooklyn, who are able to find Fifi. And I mean, we were so impressed by that utility usage, and all of a sudden we are at a situation where Lunafox is the only player remaining, and those shots missed onto Brooklyn's head do make it that much more difficult for this situation to go well, and Melee finishes it off. Absolutely insane round.
That was insane. Well, it's good that they did not, Team Opulence didn't let those initial 2 picks tilt them. They were able to readjust, make their way back to the A side, thanks to Yukio nonetheless, able to even up that player count real quick with those frags in tree room. So now the scoreline ever so close, almost a tied game, but also having 2 ultimates available, 1 already popped via the tour de force.
And Yukio came back with a vengeance in that previous round, so we'll see if that vengeance stays fierce going into this one. Followed up that owl drone, trying to get some information towards mid. You just have to know that if a Killjoy is on the enemy team, you have to know that there's an alarm bot on this mid area. And Baby Soap, as well as Brooklyn, love to hold that kind of high angle to see if anybody is coming down towards that A alleyway. And does get a little bit of information and a little bit of a few warning shots, but ultimately not being able to connect for anything exactly. Melee watching this mid area, Brooklyn watching this angle should somebody decide to peek through garage, but no exact collisions just yet, as the attacking side are now posturing, getting ready to move towards this B site. They're pinging out to check these corners. I love that they're doing this. They've been able to pick up that the defensive side has been able to make a lot happen by holding those angles, and ooh, a nice grenade placement from this Killjoy does force Yukio to maybe not get as much done as you would normally anticipate from a jet dashing onto site, but nonetheless, the attacking side able to pick off the Lunafox as well. So nicely getting themselves onto site. HP bars looking a little rough for 3 members of the attacking side, but ultimately having the agent advantage going into this retake for the defenders.
Okay, Brooklyn able to finally capitalize on it tour de force. Things slowed down, and all is left is for Fifi to try to make their way on the site.
Yeah, Fifi is just trying to figure out exactly if there's any damage that can be dealt, but ultimately Brooklyn final say with that tour de force and bringing us at a 10-10 game. I mean, after that, at an 8-4, you're definitely at a situation where it's like, okay, people could reasonably come back from this. If you're able to especially pick up some early rounds and be able to kind of snowball economy, things start to look so different, and I'm very impressed with Team Opulence right now.
Yeah, each member just doing great work. We see Melee 20 and 10, so definitely fragging out for the squad, but then Brooklyn being so smart with utility, and Baby Soap again being the fragger that they are. So leaving definitely not Serenity on this pistol round, so consequently pushing up and being aggressive on this half.
Oh, all right. Nice. From the shadows to allow for Baby Soap to get that aggressive position onto site. Lets everybody know that nobody is hanging out on some of those short angles by Generator.
Oh,
And does just aggressively get onto site. Oh, unfortunate situation there for Baby Soap from Rizura, just hopping up and pulling out that Sheriff real quick. Definitely somebody who has played a Western duel or two in their lifetime. And coming out on top there as Seal throws out that paranoia and trying to make sure that should anybody be hanging out towards that heaven area, that they will be blind. And with that, also the dark cover going off. But 4 members of the attacking side and full HP bars for the most part are going to be looking extremely strong to combat this retake. But Seal is just trying to even the score bit by bit, but the trades are just coming out so well from Team Opulence, as Lunafox, the only one remaining, but has to face down 2 with that bomb ticking so loud, picks off melee shots towards the sky. I mean, that's how we all feel when the bomb is going that loud.
but a great attempt nonetheless. Luna Fox was able to get her hands on a rifle, even though that was kind of their save round, and do a bit of damage to them. So Team Opulence, at least they were able to do some damage to Team Opulence, but unable to clutch that round in the end. So Team Opulence now in the lead. I didn't think we'd be saying that, but in the lead now, and things are looking good with KO Alt and the Blade Storm. KO Alt being popped.
And with that, Sushi alongside Yukio blazing onto this site. I mean, the patented Cloudburst dash closed the door, but ultimately not going to be patented alongside some kills, as Lunafox and Fifi are trying to bring this back into their favor, trying to bring us to an even game once again, as Lunafox picks up 3 kills. Brooklyn, the only one remaining in this lurker, and I mean, thankfully for the attacking side at least, and for Team Opulence Black fans, they don't really have any idea where Brooklyn is, but with that turret placement, they certainly do now.
Yeah, it's gonna be difficult for Brooklyn to try to make their way out of this one. Darts going their way, alarm bot know where they are, so just probably gonna try to get out with that rifle.
Yeah, it's a valiant effort, and I mean, even if Brooklyn were to die here, I think we would still be seeing the ability to buy up into the next round. So we might actually see Brooklyn try to go and make something happen in this 1v3 situation, and trying to get some shots through those paper-thin boathouse walls, but they're just not going to go that way. And Seal is making it so difficult for anyone to get any information. These dark covers just seem to be up at the correct moment every single time, and the jump peaks from Lunafox will force Brooklyn to try to peek out and seal the deal.
Okay, bringing it back to a tied game, and Luna Fox again, just the name that we keep saying over and over again, was able to get, what, 3 kills that last round? Was a force to be reckoned with to say, you guys cannot come on this site. Like, just don't even try it. So, impressive utility usage as well. We saw the drone coming out. So after getting all those frags, then using the drone to get some information to try to continue that retake. Just overall, a very valuable player.
With this little bit of a timeout, Team Opulence Black. I mean, you said it yourself. I wouldn't have thought that we would be going to an even game at this point, but I mean, for how we saw that first half go for the side of definitely not Serenity, and now we're just seeing an extremely oppressive attacking half for Team Opulence Black. It does make sense that we are finally at this point, and I'm eager to see what each of these teams are going to try to do to bring themselves out on top.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about Team Opulence Black being the dark horse in this sense, a team that just came out of nowhere and were able to take rounds off of or maps and series off of Roulette, for example, a very well-known team in the scene that has performed in the main VCT circuit. So you can't count Team Opulence back for bringing this to a tie game.
Ooh, and Lunafox with a nice shot, I believe, through the wall, too, to pick off a nice early kill. Taking out that KO is absolutely huge, but regardless, still able to get onto site, following it up with a Hunter's Fury from Lunafox, trying to stop the bomb being planted and force a little bit of a scattered situation, which does allow Rizura to capitalize and get that kill there. Very nicely done, and HP bar is definitely looking rough for a lot of players, Baby Soap included, who falls to that shock dart from Lunafox. I mean, as somebody who just understands the utility of that agent so well. Melee trying to pick up some kills. Brooklyn forced to the back of Boathouse here, picks off Zoe, but falls to Seal, and the first team to match point will be definitely not Serenity.
Like there's a magnet on these darts or something. The darts just always end up killing someone. It's so impressive how smart she's able to just place the utility to always have the maximum value. So that value has brought them to match point. Also able to get an op on Rizora, 4 ultimates available for this team. All well, the lockdown at least and the KO all are 2 things that can slow down Team Opulence's push and just break up their momentum. So it's gonna be a fight to try to bring this back to a tied game.
All right, starting off with that 0-point rebuttaled by that Recon Bolt. Both can be able to get a little bit of information at least to the presence of some agents towards that B site, but it looks like we're actually seeing Yukio as well as Sushi kind of just being a little bit of a decoy, and I mean a decoy that has some nice head hunting potential there as Yukio picks up that kill onto Lunafox, and we've said it time and time again, Lunafox, that top frag for this defensive side, so a great start to this for the attackers as they're able to push onto site and get that bomb down, and with the defensive side not even postured yet, this is a lot of time that's going to be eaten up by just trying to rotate around the map and get onto here, but Rizura at least making it that much easier by getting that kill onto Sushi. Yukio also getting a little bit of a fight back there, but a 3v3 situation now. Baby Soap potentially colliding with Seal, but has a little bit of backup here in this Heaven side. I know we had another 1-for-1 trade. These 1-for-1 trades are going to really start to stack up as that bomb is... Oh, it's being held by Fifi. Fifi is forced off of it. Brooklyn now just has to joust around this. Oh, but it's actually gonna go to Fifi, and the defuse will go off, and definitely not Serenity definitely takes this one home.
Wow, what a matchup. Like I was saying earlier, it was going to be so difficult to figure out who was going to win. Again, definitely not Serenity being the regulars in the scene, Team Opulence Black being the newcomers. They were able to put up such a great fight against definitely not Serenity, but not great enough to counter Lunafox. Lunafox 26 and 15, just a force to be reckoned with and such a smart player.
I mean, but just that, I mean, we've been seeing a lot of insane Sovas today. We've seen now basically 3 Sovas be top of the board because Lunafox and Melee, both at 26 kills and 21 kills, are top of the leaderboards for their respective teams. So, I mean, there's a lot to be said for these very good, very on top of their game Sova players that we're seeing here today. And that last round was just so intense because it was a 1v1 situation. The bomb was at half and Brooklyn just was in a 1v1 situation that could have brought us to overtime, and unfortunately that's got to be a little bit of a heartbreaker, but Team Opulence Black certainly made that a lot closer of a game than I believe either of us were anticipating after that first half. So a great job to Team Opulence Black and a very good fight put up, and I mean, it's definitely not over. I mean, you do still have one more round in this day, and if they won their first one, they could still be in a great potential to move on out of this stage.
Yeah, exactly. So with this round robin group stages, the top 2 teams from each group are moving on to playoffs. So we will check in to see how the other teams are doing, and we'll come back with final form and revive me Jet after the break.